Everybody, welcome to 312, the HRP podcast. On this episode, we are talking to Larry Eberhart of Reeves Young. And I'm also joined by my co-host today, Sean Malin. Sean, why don't you say hi to everybody out there?
Hey, hi everybody out there. I'm Sean Malin, Principal and Regional Manager with HRP Associates.
Now, HRP this year is involved with Clays for Cancer.
Clays for Cancer is a philanthropic event that HRP Associates in the Carolinas started last year to benefit the American Cancer Society.
And one of the sponsorship opportunities which HRP made available was a podcast episode, and Larry is the recipient of that sponsorship level. So, Larry, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell us a little bit about Reeves Young?
Thank you both for having me today. My name is Larry Eberhart. I am the Regional Director of Business Development for Reeves Young for the Carolinas office, based here in Greenville. I'm happy to be one of the sponsors again this year for the Clays for Cancer, which is an absolutely fun event. But Reeves Young is a general contractor with offices in Atlanta, Greenville, and Nashville. And we have quite a diverse portfolio of projects, public and municipal work, hotels, multifamily, industrial, and then water resources. So water plants, water treatment plants, and utility infrastructure. That's just, a kind of a super brief version of what we do. But
now it's a pretty diverse portfolio that you services that as a general contractor. Is that right?
I think one of Reeves Young's true strengths is our diversity of markets. So we talk about diversity of markets. We basically build everything except hospitals and houses, which really lends our company to be, I don't want to say recession proof, but certainly if one sector is lagging, we hope to make it up in other sectors. So for example, there's a lot of money going on right now in the municipal world, a lot of infrastructure projects that we're trying to take advantage and chase. But if that money dries up in a few years from now, we hope that our industrial group will pick up. We also do a lot in the water resources world. So water utility infrastructure, wastewater treatment plants, water treatment plants, and certainly here in the Southeast, where a lot of people are moving to, every house needs two things. It needs sewer and it needs water. So those are what I think is, again, not recession-proof markets, but certainly recession insulative, if I can use that word.
Reeves Young's been around in South Carolina for a while now. Can you give us a little bit of the history?
Absolutely. So we've been in South Carolina we've been doing work in South Carolina for well over 10 years. The company actually started in 1952. So the company is actually over 70 years old. And we started as a utility contractor installing water and sewer pipe in the city of Atlanta for 10 cents a foot. It's a little bit more than 10 cents a foot in today's market, obviously. But through existing relationships with certain clients, we were doing work into the kind of the western part of the upstate of South Carolina. Have been doing that for a number of years. Have a number of projects that we've partnered with other general contractors on in the Clemson area and in Clemson University. When Reeves Young hired me to lead their Greenville office, that's when I started chasing a lot more of the work in the Carolina area. So not just on the western part of the state, but the whole state, all the way from basically the entire state of South Carolina, all the way into the edges of North Carolina, Asheville and Charlotte.
Mm. You spend a lot of time in North Carolina these days, don't you?
Yeah, it's hit or miss depending upon what projects are available or on the market. But yeah, we're looking at a couple of projects actually right now that are in the Charlotte area. One in Gastonia, another one in Charlotte itself. And we're doing a construction management project right now on a hotel in Charlotte. We're not a national GC. We're what I call a regional GC. Basically 400-mile circle around Atlanta is kind of our target area. But we've done projects as far away as downtown Washington, D.C. Mm-hmm. And for an existing client, we're building a Grand Hyatt Hotel and Convention Center on Beale Street in Memphis.
Do you get over there much yourself, or is that just for the company?
That's just for the company. My position really is what they call the Carolinas, if you will. So it's basically Charlotte to Greenville to Charleston. Now that does carry me. Again, it's depending upon existing relationships. We're looking at a couple of projects in Florida with some clients that I'm good friends with. So I would say it's primarily the Carolinas, but there's really no hard and firm rules on where I can go.
Now, Reeves Young's had a lot of success in South Carolina.
So I've been very blessed here over the past 2 years since we opened our office in Greenville. We have got to know the folks at REWA very well. We have one project completed and one project in pre-con and one project in the middle of construction. So 3 projects with REWA. That's a great client of ours. We're going to be building a small public works facility for the city of Fountain Inn. We were just awarded the police training facility, new fire station, and city park expansion for the city of Greer. And we will also be breaking ground for the brand new Greenville Transit Authority admin headquarters / maintenance facility on the north end of Main Street any day now, as soon as the permits come through. And then in the very, very, very near future, you'll be seeing a very large Reeves Young sign right on 85, just past the BMW exit. We've got an industrial client that we're building a spec building there for as well. So
excellent.
So yeah, we're very blessed. There's still lots of opportunities in construction. There's a lot. I tell people, listen, I'm just a big dumb guy. I don't get it all the time. Everything's more expensive. It takes longer to get it. It's harder to find it, but people still need it. And fortunately, in South Carolina, we're growing and people are moving here, so a lot of that infrastructure is still getting built. And we're just trying to do our fair share.
Aside from being a successful firm in construction in the Carolinas, what is it that makes Reeves Young unique and sets you apart from your competitors?
I think obviously the diversity that we've already spoken about is, just from a nuts and bolts standpoint is probably one of the most unique things. There's not a lot of other general contractors out there with our level of diversity. But when you get into, let's say, the more, I don't want to use the term touchy-feely, but more the human side of things, we have a great culture at this company. They've taken very, very, very good care of me and my family since I have been employed there over the last couple of years. We have employee events about once a month, quite a diverse workforce. We love to promote from within. We do like to be involved in the community. So, I do a lot of things, which I'm sure we'll get into in a few minutes, outside of my technical work roles. And I've been very, very fortunate that Reeves Young has been fully supportive of all of those. One being Real Men Wear Pink, which we'll get into, and Sean's Clays for Cancer sponsorship as well. Mm-hmm. So we like to be not just in the community, but involved with the community. I think you'll find the leaders of the company are engaging real people that like to focus on partnerships. We treat our clients' money like it's our own. We just try to do the right thing when no one's looking. It's a really, 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 really great place to work. I've really enjoyed it. And by the way, we're hiring everywhere. So if you're interested, look me up.
So it sounds like a place with a really great culture.
I think from a culture standpoint, what HRP promotes in their 312 concept is pretty similar to the culture at Reeves Young. And so it seemed like a pretty good fit for me to jump on with you and Sean and kind of talk about what our culture is like.
That's a nice touch.
Now, did you and Sean first meet up or connect through business or through some of the charity stuff that you've both been part of, such as Real Men Wear Pink or Clays for Cancer?
I think that the first time I met you, Larry, was there's an organization here in the upstate called Upstate SC Alliance. And I actually, probably emphasizing this, but I remember learning like 1 hour before there was some sort of talk that needed to be given, right, by one of my colleagues. And so I had to go to this meeting and kind of do a little bit of an elevator pitch, if I remember correctly. And I kind of came in there and I had nothing prepared. And so I just kind of winged it. And I'm pretty sure that's the first time we met.
I remember that day, actually. You're absolutely right. Upstate SC Alliance had a small group.
Roundtable.
Like a roundtable program. And I think there was another gentleman from HRP who had signed you guys up and then left to go to somewhere else. And you kind of were left holding the bag. Hey, by the way, you need to go present to the small group.
Yeah.
That was at your old offices off of Woodruff Road.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah. I decided to go in there and just kind of tell crazy stories, I think, instead of doing what was asked.
But yeah, I'm quite sure that was the first time we met.
And then, so then we kept bumping into each other through Upstate Alliance mostly.
But sometimes in Charleston at the bar.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We would, Larry and I there was at least twice, wasn't there? Where I'd be in Charleston, working from that office there and walking into a bar and Larry's sitting over there. So that was interesting. And then we've done some shooting events from time to time. I've gotten drawn into, we went down in the St. Stephen area, wasn't it? That we went to that hunting lodge with our buddy down there. So I think we hit it off right off the bat.
There's no question that we hit it off. So we run in fairly similar circles. So even if we're not trying to bump into each other, it's not uncommon for us to attend the same event.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I think Sean and I are probably pretty similarly cut from a similar cloth, and just got along great. And so it was really, really because of that friendship that last year for Clays for Cancer, I wanted to be one of the initial prime sponsors, and then this year stepped it up to the main sponsor. So,
and I really appreciate that.
It's not, I mean, for me, it's, again, I mentioned before about being relationship based. So I try to keep my, I guess, attitude and perspective about business development pretty simple. And I talk about it a lot with my kids at my house. I never will come to a client with my hand out looking for work. I'm always trying to find a way for either me personally or my connections through Reeves Young or my connections through other engineer organizations like HRP, for example, to put the pieces together so that even if it's not a project for me, but if I know Sean can help one of my clients or a potential client, I'm going to hook those two guys up so that they can get their stuff fixed. And hopefully 2, 3, 6 a year later, 6 months or a year later, karma pays me back. So when I say it's relationship based, I really like to think that there's more to that than just a website slogan. I like to do the right thing, never want to burn a bridge, always love to meet new people. You never know when a connection is going to pay off. I've learned that lesson the hard way a couple of times in my life. So again, it's just all about trying to do the right thing at the right time when no one's looking. It's great to support the American Cancer Society. I'm doing Real Men Wear Pink. And Reeves Young supports us fully on that. But honestly, I think what starts it is a personal relationship with somebody.
Let's talk about Real Men Wear Pink.
Yes, sir.
So how did you get wrapped into that?
That's very easy. You called me. You called me and said you're going to do this. I remember right where I was standing when you called me. I was waiting to go into a civil engineering office in Columbia, and you called me just as I got out of my truck, and you said, "I got something for you."
That's more accurate. I didn't say you're going to do this, but yeah, I said this.
I'm pretty sure you said you're going to do this.
I mean, in my own way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, reading between the lines. So talk about that a little bit this year. It's the 2022 campaign. You guys had a kickoff last week.
We did. We had a kickoff last week. I'm excited to be supporting Real Men Wear Pink. Had to come up with kind of a unique fundraising idea, which we'll get into here in just a second. But I have done other fundraising events for local charities here in Greenville and been fairly successful. Again, thankful for a great network of a lot of generous friends of mine. But so this year I will be rocking some shade of pink every day during the month of October, as our real men are required to do. And from a fundraising standpoint, kind of my hook this year is, and I think it just got announced on LinkedIn today through Reeves Young. If you look at LinkedIn, look at their Motivational Monday. I think I'm on there today.
All right.
So I am going to do I'm here to announce my push-up challenge for the month of October. And Sean thinks I'm a little crazy for doing this.
I do.
So I'm going to do one push-up during the month of October for every dollar that I raise. Oof. So
Tom, oof.
Keeping in mind that my goal is $5,000 is my goal, which I hope to break. Mm-hmm. When you do the math, that averages out to 161 push-ups per day, every day for the month. So if you feel like having some fun with Larry and injecting a little pain into my life, I'm certainly willing to do that and take on the pain for a good cause. So again, Big Larry's push-up challenge to benefit the American Cancer Society, the Real Men Wear Pink campaign.
And your marketing folks are all over this, right? So
we have a tremendous marketing group at Reeves Young.
Yeah.
It's 6 or 7 people deep. They're all awesome, and they're helping me with some of the marketing. And I think it's going to be. They're the one that did the LinkedIn post.
Okay.
Yeah, and so they're creating some of my content for me, some flyers with the QR code.
Nice.
So it's go right to my fundraising page, and they'll get a kick out of seeing Larry do some push-ups. Matter of fact, keep a lookout on LinkedIn for a funny video, probably the second week in October, of me at the home office making it rain, doing some push-ups. So I'll give you that little teaser.
Awesome. I'm looking at my wallet over there across the way. I'm like, how much money do I have in there right now? We can just do this.
$1 per push-up. $1 per push-up.
So how are you documenting the push-ups?
So I'm hoping that everybody's just going to believe me when I show I'm just going to have a tracking sheet where I mark it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Well, your wife will vouch, right?
I'm sure she will vouch for me, but probably I don't. Listen, at the end of the day, I'm doing this for a good cause.
That's right.
I'm not gonna slack on the push-ups. And if I raise $10,000 and I can't do all my push-ups by the end of October, I will fess up and say, hey, I only did 6,340, and I will keep going until I get those push-ups done.
Well, when November rolls around, the proof will be in the packs, right?
I hope so.
It's gonna be jacked up.
Either that or in 2 slings, one or
Yep.
the other. So I plan to post occasionally on LinkedIn and other social media channels kind of what my progress is, and I'm sure I'll have some commentary about my level of chest soreness and that kind of thing. But again, working out for me is something that is very regular occurrence anyway. So hopefully it'll help towards a good goal in the end.
Are you going to mess with the hands? Like at some point in time, you're going to be sore, be unsore. So you're going to go for like the different isoplasts. You're going to work the different areas of the pectoral.
I only specified push-up. It can be a regular push-up. It can be narrow grip. It can be tricep. It can be wide grip.
What about the claps? Claps are good.
Plyo push-ups. You're going to bust out
What about
some
one arm?
declines too?
Yeah, do some declines, some claps. See, aren't you glad you came on the podcast?
I am. Appreciate you.
So maybe it could be like $2 for the clap push-up. Is that even the right?
Ooh.
Am I even using?
I
the
call
right
them plyo. I think that's the right one.
Plyo when you
Plyo
push and clap.
push-ups. It's where you
Okay.
push yourself up off the ground and then clap.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
catch yourself as you come back down. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I can't do that.
If Sean is willing to
Ooh.
fund some extra donations my way, we can
Okay.
come up with something creative.
Okay.
Like weighted push-ups.
Ooh, yeah, you gotta start putting weights on top of you. Have somebody sit on your back while you're doing them.
I've actually done that many, many times, either with small children or 45-pound plates. Yeah.
So
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
what's the strategy right now? Are you gonna do average per day? Are you gonna set aside a particular day of the week and try to max out?
Oh, I think based on the number of push-ups I'm expecting to do, I'm going to have to do sets of push-ups multiple times every single day, like 50 before dinner and 50 after dinner and 50 before I go to bed and 50 when I wake up and, 50 while I'm on the phone with Sean or whatever.
They're like, why are you always breathing heavy? Tom brings up a great point though. Like you almost need to start doing push-ups now and get a bank reserve, right?
So I think what I'm going to start doing now is I'm doing a little training now. So I'm just getting my body ready for it. But
And it's too late to train, man. The marathon's tomorrow, bro.
Well, the deal is it's during the month of October. So I've got 31 days to do as many push-ups, hopefully for lots and lots of money for the American Cancer Society. But overall, Tom, to answer your question, my strategy is I'm going to be doing push-ups multiple times a day. And I think what's going to happen is when I get the word out and people start following it, if I go to a lunch meeting, someone may say, hey, here's $10, do 10 push-ups. I can tell you for a fact that the ladies in the marketing department will have fun with this and will probably want me to do push-ups when I'm down visiting their office. And yeah.
All right, so I'm looking at the calendar here, trying to see the next time we're going to bump into each other in a public place, and I'll make sure I have some cashola in my wallet.
Well, we'll certainly bump into each other at the shooting event in, was it the 22nd?
Yes.
20th?
October 20th.
Yep.
October 20th.
So this isn't just it's not just you're raising the money and then you can do the push-ups. It's that someone can give you money on the spot and you're just doing the push-ups right there.
That's the deal. $1 per push-up.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Absolutely. I think that's just a way to have a little fun with it. I was just trying to do something that was different and hadn't been done before.
Yeah.
A lot of other things have been done. So I was just trying to do something a little unique. And like I said, I know my way around a gym. So for me, it was a decent fit.
Folks, if you want to help get Larry to that push-up goal, there will be links in the podcast notes and the description on YouTube to make your donations.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
So we've talked about Real Men Wear Pink. Let's talk about Clays for Cancer, the big event we have coming up in the month of October. So Sean gave us a brief description about what the event is, and Larry, you've attended in the past. Can you kind of describe for us what it's like to be there and participate?
Well, it's a bunch of fun. If you like shooting trap or skeet or sporting clays, it's a sporting clay course at the Clinton House. It's a lot of fun. I've shot there probably a dozen times in my career. Probably Sean has as well. So even aside from the money raising aspect of it. It's a fun afternoon, a lot of networking, a lot of camaraderie. And then last year we had Tad out there dressed in a pink tutu to kind of spice things up as kind of a ambassador, if you will. Mm-hmm. And then this year I'm hoping to be an ambassador as well. I think I plan to go. So Sean and I have a crazy idea that we're gonna run by you here. So we're going to print my fundraising QR code on a little circular sticker about the size of a sporting clay. And then for, what did we say it was going to be for? $5?
Something like that.
Yeah. So for $5 or $10, if you want to make a donation, you can we'll actually throw the clay with my picture on it and you can shoot your shotgun at that clay as an added little wrinkle into the donation. But it's a great event. Advanced and beginning shotgunners are welcome. It's not a high pressure deal. This is not a competition. It's just a lot of fun.
The one time I went shooting, I was so bad at it that they let me walk up to the bird or the puck or whatever it is and just like blast it while I was sitting on the ground because I had missed so many at that point.
That sounds really safe.
Well, I wasn't that close. I was as close as they were going to let me get.
I gotcha.
So one of the things that I really like about shooting sporting clays, and this is the quite opposite of the game of golf. So in sporting clays, you either hit it or you don't. You can miss it by a millimeter or a mile. Nobody can tell the difference. In golf, when you hit a crappy shot, everybody sees it and they know exactly how crappy it was. So if you hit your golf ball 50 yards into the woods, which I've been known to do occasionally, everybody sees you hit it 50 yards in the woods. When you're shooting sporting clays, you can be like, I was just a little behind that one. Yep, just missed it. So I think that's a fun aspect of sporting clays.
One of the reasons why we kind of went in this direction is I feel like, and Larry and I have been walking around in the same circles, as he said, for 10 years now. I feel like, not that sporting clays or skeet is something new, right? It's not like a new thing. I just feel like it's really infiltrated the business community. And I think that modern day people with technology and appointments and places to be and all this stuff, I think that people are less inclined to spend what is needed, like an entire afternoon, to go golf with somebody, right? And I think that the fact that you can go do clays or skeet in 2 hours tops, and at the same time, I think it's counterintuitive, right? Because you and I go golfing, we're both horrible golfers, right? And we are horrible golfers.
Yeah, I'm calling him out, Sean.
He's a bad golfer. I'm a bad golfer. That's why we shoot. So Larry's going to hit his ball in the woods on the right, and I'm going to be in the left. And we're out here to meet each other and relationship build, as you explained earlier in the podcast. And we're going to spend the entire day on opposite sides of the fairway. And I think that even though there's a gun going off, I think that what I've learned over the last couple of years is you actually get more face time sitting in the golf cart, and you go from station to station. So sporting clays is very much like golf. With the cart, you go from station to station, and there's a fairway, if you will, right? I think you spend a lot more time with the person that you're actually shooting clays with than you do on a golf course. That's just my 2 cents. And I think that I think down here, specifically in the Carolinas, I feel like they're, even putting together the event and emailing clients and vendors and friends and all this other stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people that like to shoot.
It's certainly becoming very, very popular in our
space.
Yeah, in our market, if you will. A lot of organizations like the Upstate SC Alliance sponsor sporting clay shoots. A lot of the economic development organizations, the county level local organizations, sponsor shoots that are fundraisers for them. And again, it's, from a business development standpoint, you try to get a couple clients together and go have a good time. And it's to Sean's point, it can be a lot easier to network and a lot more fun when you're always together as opposed to when you're on opposite sides of the fairway. And it's also fun, I've found. I'm not going to take a beginning golfer and get him to hit a 200-yard drive that day. That's not going to happen. But I know enough about shooting, I can take a beginning shooter and probably have him hit 2, 3, 4, 5 clays. And to see that confidence get instilled and kind of a light bulb go off and have someone get excited when they see the clay blow up, that's a lot of fun as well.
And that's exactly why I put Kathleen Traub with you last year.
She's awesome.
Hey, I'm going to be there this year, so there's your challenge.
All right,
Get me
awesome.
to actually hit something.
Well, I'll give you as many shots on my clay with my picture on it as you want. How's that? But you have to donate. It's for a great cause. American Cancer Society does great work, helps many, 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 many people around the world. So if there's any way that you're interested in sponsoring, I'm sure my friend Sean Malin will find a way to make it happen.
We also have some fun stuff. In addition to Larry printing out his face on clays and throwing them up for shots this year, we're also going to have a raffle. There's going to be some bourbon as donated by Mr. Tom Darby, who's HRP's Real Men Wear Pink colleague with Larry this year. We're going to have some glassware. Oh, we also, Palmetto State Armory gave us some shooting range passes, which will go in the gift bags for the attendees as well. So we got, with every year, we're going to keep adding more and more to it, and we look to have more registrants here as we're getting down to the wire on October 20th, and we hope that we can double the size of this event this year.
And Sean, why is it that this event's a big one for HRP? Why do we place as much value on it as we do, and why should people out there listening be as excited for it as we are?
Well, I think that from a geographical standpoint, HRP internally does a lot for cancer awareness and different cancer associations. Obviously, you guys in New England have your walk that you do. There's a couple other events that we see. We're just trying to, with every region, figure out what our folks in that particular region gravitate towards and try to find events that we think that our staff will want to participate. We definitely have a few local folks and also some folks from Charleston come up and participate that like to shoot clays. And I think furthermore, the HRP family, getting back to Larry's comment about the culture, I've been with HRP for 12 years, and in that time, there have been many employees or their loved ones have really been impacted by cancer in a variety of different ways. I think that everybody that walks the earth has a story with that. And I think that this was just a good opportunity to step up in the Carolinas and the Southeast and have an event that we could bring our clientele and our friends and our vendors to and really stand up on our 2 feet. So the event kicks off around 8:30. We like folks to show up around 8. And when you arrive, you will come in and get registered, grab your badge, grab a goodie bag, which will have some safety glasses, some earbuds, hearing protection, and some shotgun shells. And at that point in time, you can wander through the lodge and grab yourself a cup of coffee and wait for everybody else to kind of file in there. That's a good time for networking and seeing people that you bumped into that you haven't seen in a couple of months or a couple of years at this point in the game, coming off of COVID. At some point in time there will be a health and safety discussion, shooting topics, where the folks at the Clinton House will stand up and give everybody a safety talk on how to do things. I do believe that usually 15 minutes beforehand, they'll take some folks to a station, right, Larry? And for those who are new to shooting, there's
usually for those that are, like you said, that are new to shooting and maybe unfamiliar with shotgun operations, there's a special extra, let's call it safety briefing. And then before everybody goes to shoot, there's an overall safety briefing.
Right.
Talking about how to carry the gun unloaded properly, whether it be opening the breech or open the action.
Right.
That type of thing. So yeah, safety is obviously very important when you're out shooting guns.
Right.
Yeah.
And so once we get the total registration list, Tom, I usually will go through in not unlike golf, right? Like a scramble where we'll figure out people's abilities and we try to mix teams up so that there's usually a person with every team where this is old hat like Larry. And I'll probably put some folks that are less familiar with guns with him as part of the health and safety thing so that he can kind of help us keep an eye on folks. Mm-hmm. So once all the registrants get in there, then everybody will grab a golf cart. The names and the team names will be on the golf carts, and everybody kind of climbs in and meets their team. We try really hard to put a group together. Sometimes the sponsors or folks like Larry will have a team together, and they let us know beforehand so that team's there. But then also there's like showing up to golf on a Saturday. They might, we might pair you up with some other folks. So, and with that, I hate to even do this, but it's a shotgun start. It's a shotgun start. And everybody kind of goes out in their cart to each station of the 12, and everybody gets going, and you just kind of rotate. as you go through the teams there. Depending on the station, every individual gets somewhere between, what do you say, Larry? Like 6 to 10 shots, depending on the station? Probably not 10, 6 or 8 shots.
6 to 8.
And the clay machines, the traps, for lack of a better term, are usually set aside at each station. There's, a dewy meadow, or you're in the forest there, right? Like not unlike golf, where you're kind of looking out there, and the clays will come from the left, they'll come from the right, they'll come from overhead. The ones I like the best are the rabbits, which they actually will throw the clay on the ground and it kind of bounces and hops up. I always find those pretty exciting. And it's a lot of fun. The whole point is to change the eye level of the shooter and try to make it challenging. Some people, I'm really getting into the details here, Tom, but some people prefer to swing their firearm from left to right or right to left, depending on whether they're right-handed, dominant eye. Larry probably knows way more about all that stuff than I can. So, the folks that run the Clinton House do a really good job of keeping the course enjoyable so that newbies have fun in it, but also having some challenging shots in there as well. I think they do a really nice job.
Every station's a little different, so you're not going to see the same thing twice. Some stations are harder than others. So for those that are beginning shooters, there's a few stages that are, let's say, confidence builders. And then there's some that are really pretty challenging. The last time I shot that course, it was a lot of fun. They had a number of stations where the birds crossed in midair, or the clays crossed in midair. And if you timed it just right, you could actually shoot both with one shot, which was pretty cool. A lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It's low pressure. It's enjoyable. It's not a competition. It's not hardcore people. It's regular, everyday people like Sean and myself out there trying to have good time for good cause.
So, Larry, you're involved in a lot of these different charities and groups that we've been talking about and elaborating on. Can you tell us a little bit about why these are important to you?
Specifically to the Real Men Wear Pink and breast cancer awareness. So breast cancer has actually touched my life and my family's life. So my mom's mom died of breast cancer when she was only 15.
Wow.
My dad's mom had breast cancer and had to have a breast removed when I was probably 15. And just recently, my mom actually had a scare, which turned out to be not breast cancer, but obviously based on her family history was tremendously stressful for a while. But in my family, we try to make light of things sometimes as much as we can to help everybody, let's say, deal with the stress. So this goes back a long time when I was, again, 13, 14, 15 years old. My grandmother, my dad's dad, had to have a breast removed. And this is back in the 80s when it wasn't maybe quite as well known as it is today. Mm-hmm. And so she had a prosthesis that was separate and wasn't attached to her body. And my mom thought it would be funny to make her own carry bag for this prosthetic breast, which my mom called the booby bag. So my grandmother was walking around with a booby bag, and it actually said booby bag on it. And that was back in the days when it probably wasn't politically correct to say things like that. But from my grandmother was at that time 70, but she was always like the 16-year-old at the party.
Was she a Spitfire?
She was a Spitfire. She lived life to the fullest. She was always making jokes and cracking jokes.
That's great.
That was her person. So that style of joke met her personality tremendously. And she would go back down to Florida at a retirement community and tell everybody about her booby bag. So booby bag was a big deal for a few years.
That's awesome.
Back in the 80s.
Well, I mean, she owned it, right? Yeah. And I mean, I think that's what it takes. That type of personality to say, I'm not going to sit around and mope about this.
Correct. As opposed to sitting here and crying, I'm going to have some fun with it.
I'm going to control this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's fantastic. That's phenomenal.
That's the history behind that. But yeah, so breast cancer obviously has touched my life.
Was the bag crochet?
No. It was like a canvas bag with I can't remember what she did for the...
Bedazzled? Did it have...
I don't know that bedazzled was around then.
Puffy paint?
But it was a canvas bag that my mom made from scratch.
Does it still exist?
Ooh, my grandma's been dead now for 3-4 years. So I don't think so.
I bet you it is. I bet you it does. Is that the kind of thing that you get rid of?
I don't think that's been around. I think it would have come up when my parents went through my grandmother's stuff after she passed.
I got you.
Yeah. Although it might be stuck in a I don't know. My parents have moved a couple times. Hard to tell. Hard to tell.
So did she pass of natural causes?
Yeah, she was.
So she beat breast cancer.
She did. I mean, she got breast cancer back in the 80s, and she only died at the ripe young age of 96.
That's phenomenal.
3 years ago.
Wow.
So she beat it.
I mean, and again, I'm not a doctor or a historian of cancer, but I mean, that was at the beginning of breast cancer research and studies of things. I mean, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I think, again, I'm going back to memory, and I probably didn't know all the details as a kid, but I think back then they basically just discovered a lump and just said, let's be sure, and took the whole breast just to get it off the body and away. And I think probably it was early enough that it hadn't spread, and so they were able to capture the whole bad mass and get it out. But yeah, no, she lived for 35 years after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah. No, she was something else. We called her Tutu. She wanted to be called Grandma, and Tutu is Hawaiian for grandmother.
Okay.
So I called her Tutu.
Okay.
She was famous for her applesauce and her booby bag.
Oh my gosh. And her loving personality and her children and all those good things.
Yeah. Certainly grandchildren.
What made the applesauce so good?
She left the skins on the apples, so the applesauce turned out pink.
Ah.
And believe it or not, my buddies in high school caught wind of it, and anytime she would visit, my buddies would come home with me just to have her applesauce.
Get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, it was pink.
All right. Well, Larry, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you on.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you very much. Look forward to a great event. Look forward to continue great relationship with Sean and with my friends at HRP.
Yep. And I will see you down at the Clays for Cancer event in October. Hey, Tom Simmons here with a quick interruption. We will be taking you to the Play Hard segment in just a moment. We'll be joining Sean, Larry, and myself in just a moment for the Play Hard section of the podcast. But we wanted to let you know, because Sean and Larry are in our South Carolina office, that this section of Play Hard will be audio only. But we want to make sure we don't leave you without a video section for Play Hard, so we have a bonus Play Hard section. Yes, that's right, a bonus Play Hard section that will be video coming out this Friday. It is on Hispanic Heritage Month. Our guests are Alicia Washington and Jadira Forbes, who work in the Farmington office up here with me. So make sure to look on our YouTube feed for the video portion coming out this Friday. And now let's join myself, Larry, and Sean for Play Hard.
New Jersey Devils hockey puck right in front of
This
you.
is not my
Jersey
desk.
Devils.
This is not my
Okay,
desk.
yeah, that wasn't adding up.
No, because I'm a huge Penguins fan. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
Except you, who's supposedly my friend.
Yeah, I'm not a Penguins fan. Never have been, never will
be. Well, everybody's got their issues.
I always used to beat up on the Capitals when I was a kid.
Please tell me you're not a Caps fan.
I grew up as a
Are you serious?
Rings fan now.
This is a huge problem.
Well,
I don't
arm
like...
wrestle or throw down
No,
and just
of
start
course
throwing
you would
punches
beat
or
me
what?
in arm. How did I not know you were a Capitals fan?
Dude, I went to my first Washington Capitals hockey game when I was 6 years old.
Aren't you from Detroit?
DC. I grew up in DC. And then we spent 24 years in Detroit. Then I became a Wings fan.
Okay. Well,
So-
I can accept that.
So Wings first, Caps second, Penguins. How many teams are in the league? 32? They'd be 33rd.
Why?
I really don't like Mario Lemieux.
How can you say that? That's like saying...
He's a...
What?
Yes.
It's like saying...
Bobby Gould knocked him out one day in a game. I remember that.
Hold on. Time out. That's like saying... What? That's like saying I don't like Derek Jeter, right? That's like saying I don't like Muhammad Ali, right? Like you can't just say, I don't like Mario Lemieux.
Don't like Mario Lemieux. And I don't like... what's the other guy that was famous over there? He played longer than Mario Lemieux. What's his
Yager.
name? Yeah. Oh, can't stand him.
I don't...
Lemieux is a one-way player who cherry picks and is a...
So he is Alex Ovechkin's predecessor. Talking about somebody
honestly,
who stands down on the dot.
Hold on a minute.
And waits for the one-timer.
I've had many an argument with my brother and my dad about how I'm not a huge fan of Alex Ovechkin because I thought he was a prima donna.
and a cherry picker.
Okay, so I'm
and a one-way player.
So I want you to understand
Okay.
I'm being consistent.
That's fair.
Now, the year the Capitals won it, I would argue Ovechkin put that team in his back and took him all the way through and played both sides of the puck.
I don't know, because once my team's out, I run and hide.
But I understand.
But I'll take your
I was
word.
not a big Ovechkin fan for a long time. I think as he got older, he got better.
Okay.
Lemieux would just, I can't do it.
Well, I'm going to have to, we got to let Tom do this thing here, but I'm going to think about this for days because, what I've learned here, Tom, today is that I need to, when I find out that one of my friends is a hockey player, I need to immediately determine, what flag they wear. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I'm just kind of giving you some, not really though. It would have been worse what would be worse? Yeah, I don't know. Boston, I'm really, obviously we have offices in New England, so Boston's a big problem for me because they whoop us all the time. We could come in on a 10-game win streak and we'd go to play Boston and they would just whoop us like we forgot how to even play. Caps, I enjoy the...
I'm sure you did because you whooped up on the Caps all the time.
Not until that 1 year, yeah. All right. Well, Tom, I guess we should move along here.
Well, let's for myself, who is a non-hockey fan person, doesn't understand anything about the sport. Can you each sum up your arguments on the Penguins in short terms that a non-hockey person would understand?
Meaning the reason why Larry doesn't like them?
Yes, and the reason why you do. Let's hear the two. Let's hear the two sides.
So I can probably give you both arguments. I mean, clearly I don't like the Penguins primarily because they used to beat up on my team all the time. And it was actually, no matter how well the Capitals did in the regular season, if they played the Penguins and in the playoffs, the Penguins would win. Am I right?
This is true.
Sean likes the Penguins just because he was jumping on the bandwagon.
Oh.
And so that's really...
Not because I grew up 40 minutes outside the city or that they won their first 2 cups when I was, in my formative years.
I can't fault a guy for rooting for a local team.
Right?
But.
Not a local team, like my team. It's not like I'm sitting here like a guy from Pittsburgh and I'm rooting for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That wouldn't be local. That's not my...
Well, everybody in New England is now a Buccaneers fan. See, I'm taking shots at everybody.
Why that head is too.
I'm taking shots at everybody.
Does that help, Tom?
Yes.
Okay. He probably doesn't. He's just ready for us to stop talking about it.
Well, listen. So before we walk away from this, we're right here. So Larry plays men's hockey.
Yeah. So I've tried to get off this subject 3 times now, and Sean just keeps reeling it back in, Tom.
So you play men's hockey.
I do.
And I think the last time you and I went shooting, which is part of this podcast as well, you had gotten suspended or kicked off. You got suspended for a couple of games in a men's hockey league. Now, why did that happen, Larry?
So
did you lose your temper?
I don't typically lose my temper very often when I play adult league hockey. However, there are times when what I tell people is, at the end of the day, your cup can only hold so much crap.
Your cup runneth over.
And when your cup runneth over, it runneth over. And so there was one instance where I got slashed on the back of my legs.
That's right.
On a breakaway. And at that moment, my cup runneth over. And I turned around and to the guy that slashed me and his buddy did some things that got me ejected from that game.
And games? I
did not get a game suspension for that one.
Oh, okay.
Now, last season, I did get suspended 1 game because I told the referee he was horrible.
Okay.
But that referee has since been asked to not referee anymore. So actually, honestly, the issue there is not with me. It was with, and legit, was with the ref.
Vindicated.
But in that particular situation, when I got suspended, my teammate got run into the boards.
Yeah.
And
you're a defenseman.
I was actually playing forward this time, but so my center got run into the boards, and which was uncalled for. Yeah. And so I bumped the guy that ran my guy into the boards.
Air quotes.
No, I bumped him pretty good.
Okay.
No question.
So
that deserved a penalty.
That's a hit.
That was
right?
Yeah,
a bump is like something incidental. Right?
Yeah, it was a hit. And I was standing over him, expressing my dissatisfaction with his play.
Your hummers.
When the ref came at me, grabbed me, and threw me off and said, "You're going to fight him, so I'm throwing you off." And I said, "How can you throw me out of the game for something you think I'm going to do?" I said, "You're horrible." And for that, I got kicked out of that game and suspended the next game.
So you are a big dude, Larry.
I'm not small.
You're not small. And I bet you on skates, you look like you're 7'5". And I can only imagine being a ref in adult league hockey and seeing the fire in your eyes as you hold some man like a rag doll. And I can understand why he would be concerned that you're about to obliterate somebody there.
Like I said, it doesn't happen very often. But when I flip the switch, you might want to just stand by.
And you are absolutely a prototypical defenseman. So you play forward sometimes? Do you have some wheels? You're on a breakaway? I figured you just jumped up into the...
So at that point in time, I was the oldest and slowest member on the team and had a breakaway, and a guy slashed me in the back of my leg. Now, I played forward this past season because my 19-year-old son, who plays hockey also, played on my team. And so we actually played on the same line the whole season. It really is actually cooler than cool to play hockey with your kid.
No doubt.
So he was playing right wing and I was playing left wing. And then this guy named Ian was playing center. And Ian got run. And you just...
Yeah.
Everybody on my team knows that if they get run, Larry's there to help them.
That's cool. So you guys
and goalies love me because no one messes with my goalie when I'm playing defense.
Why did I think your son was a goalie? Did he play goalie sometimes? No.
He's never played goalie.
So you guys are the Ken Griffey. You're the Griffies of adult hockey in Greenville County.
Well, we did pretty well. So my son's played 2 different seasons with me, and both seasons we won the championship.
Is that pretty cool, playing with your son?
It was better than cool.
Yeah.
It was better than cool. It was really pretty special.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I dig the black jerseys too.
Yeah.
Describe what we're seeing
That's a nice
for
cup.
the listeners.
So it's a picture of Larry and his son, and they have a pretty substantial trophy. It looks like the what's the MV? The
Stanley Cup?
No.
Oh, like that's Conn Smythe or something?
Yes, Conn Smythe. It's very Conn Smythe-ish. Thank you for helping me with that.
So that's a picture of me and my almost 20-year-old son who just became a Marine who was playing on the same team.
Awesome, man.
Wow.
He's a good-looking chap.
Takes after his mom.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. You beat me to the punch. You guys got the LA Kings look to you?
A little bit, yeah, a little bit.
Cool.
There's the team.
Awesome, man.
But yeah, it's good exercise. Love it. The core group of guys that I play with has been together for 4 years now.
Did you play hockey in DC when you were growing up?
I did. I started playing hockey when I was 15 years old. And I just turned 50, so I've been playing on and off for 35 years.
Wow. Awesome, man.
Yeah. So
did you play in high school? Did you have a high school team?
There was no high school teams when I grew up. I graduated high school in 1990, so there was no high school teams in Virginia. So it was all private clubs. But I played through high school, and then I just played off and on in college. Just that because I went to an engineering school, so there was no hockey team.
What school did you go to?
Nor was I good enough.
What school did you go to?
So when I went there, it was called GMI Engineering and Management Institute. It's now called Kettering University.
And that's in? Downtown
Flint, Michigan.
Ooh.
Yeah. Hopefully before the lead pipes were an issue.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
That should hit home for you guys being environmental guys.
Yeah, for sure. So
went to school in Flint and was there for 5 years.
Okay. Excellent.
Yeah. So I've been playing hockey a long time. Love it. I do it for the camaraderie and the exercise. And,
man.
There's no risk of me, joining any minor league team anytime soon. Trust me. I've actually played with minor league and ex-minor league players, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the casual observer of hockey, people, or maybe they've gone like ice skating with their family and stuff, and they think that it's cold and you're on ice and stuff. Like the amount of the physical, the cardio, right? Like you're drenched, right? If that ice wasn't there, how hot would the game be, right?
I mean, even at an outdoor rink in the middle of winter, you're drenched in sweat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's basically run as fast as you can or skate as fast as you can for a minute, somewhere between 30 seconds and a minute and a half, and go rest for the same, and then go out and do the same thing again for an hour.
I guess I explain to people it's kind of like you have to have the hand-eye coordination of a baseball player. You have to have the cardio of a soccer player. And you have to have the toughness of a football player.
A little bit,
and all those things coming together. I don't think many people are cut out for that,
Yeah, and I obviously don't fit the part when most people look at me. They don't think of that guy as going to be any elegant at all on skates. But,
yeah.
But to give you, if you want to take a little pot shot at Larry, so I have a couple of nicknames on my hockey team, but one is PLP.
What is that?
Which stands for Pretty Little Princess. So I'm not sure how many 6'2", 270-pound Pretty Little Princess but
that is fantastic.
A couple of years ago, we were coming off the ice after a game, and one of the guy's girlfriend, who's now his wife, when they have 2 kids together, we were walking right in front of the stands. We were going to the locker room, and she said, "Larry had a great game, skating out there like a pretty little princess." And all my buddies were like, "What?"
My gosh, you're like, thanks.
So they call me PLP.
PLP.
Yeah, that's one of my many nicknames.
Well, I will. I'll grab onto that one now.
Yeah, I've got lots of them.
Yeah.
PLP, Mongo, Hot Mess, Sumo, Lobster, you name it.
What's the lobster one?
That's back from high school. They just called me Larry the Lobster. There used to be a Saturday Night Live skit, Larry the Lobster.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But it's not because of sunburn.
Based on my complexion, that's immediately what I thought of. I thought you got toasted.
No.
All right, Tom. How's that? You got your play hard there?
Yeah, excellent. I don't. I don't think we've. Usually, when we say play hard, it's a more figurative expression.
Yes.
You don't usually meet people who are playing in a very hard way. Thanks again for joining us. For those listening out there, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Like the podcast if you're listening on YouTube, and we will see you all in the next episode. Bye, everybody.